What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. And in today's video, it's Saturday, so you guys know what that means. Welcome to the Saturday Chat and Chill, and happy weekend to all of you. I hope you all have a great weekend. For me personally, it's already pretty great because I just found out about 20 or so minutes ago, for the first time in like 2 years, I'm having a snow day from work. So I don't actually have to work, and I don't have a shift looming over my head that I have to worry about getting to before I finish this video. So ought to be a pretty spunky TBR today in this video. I'm going to warn you guys now, but hey, what did you expect? But anyway, you guys, before we get into all of that and more, make sure if you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content such as this, that you smash that like button and subscribe. And you already know what time it is. Cue the intro. Alright, you guys, so in today's video, I figure what we'll do is we'll go ahead and talk about the next SS and the next BS banner predictions, being the fact that we're probably going to know kind of some idea of what we can expect for the next SS banner within the next week or two. I figured we'll go ahead and talk about it in today's video. So what we're going to start out with here is going to be the next SS banner. So keep in mind, this is all just my own opinions and my own predictions. This has no confirmation whatsoever from Netmarble, so this is all basically just going to be predictions at this point, but you guys seem to like these types of videos, so sure. Anyway, let's talk about it. So the next SS banner, in my opinion, is more than likely going to be SS Terry and SS Rock Howard. To me, this makes the most sense, right? So Terry has been a character that arguably is one of the most recognizable faces of SNK in general. He needs a better Fess in this game, and so I do get the feeling that we are probably going to see one. It's just a matter of time, but I think that it makes sense for the first banner, the first official banner of 2022. No, this latest BS banner was not a 2022 banner. It came out at the very end of 2021, so we haven't had a banner yet this year, technically. So basically with this, I'm thinking that Terry would be a great way to start the year. And Terry has been a character that's been kind of rumored for several months now. If you guys remember back, we did have that login screen where himself and Rio were represented amongst a bunch of other SS characters. And a lot of people thought that that was some sort of confirmation. Then of course that didn't end up happening, at least not yet. So I do get the feeling that Terry is due, and he really needs representation in this game. You know, this particular Terry isn't necessarily terrible, but it just makes sense that he would get an upgraded version, because this, and especially just a classic, you know, red hat, red coat Terry makes the most sense to give him a really nice character to represent him in this game. So I'm hoping that that's what ends up happening, especially for the fans, because I know a lot of people really want that. I want that. I've told you guys a million times, I love Fatal Fury. In fact, Fatal Fury, I probably just, you know, from a storyline standpoint and just how much I enjoy some of the characters, I'm probably more of a Fatal Fury guy in general, but I love Fatal Fury. So it would be super cool to see it. But my rubies. So that's why I'm thinking, speaking of rubies, that we're probably this week going to get some sort of kind of hold them over update. We might get some events or something like that we get announced on Wednesday or something around that time, and then on Thursday maybe we'll get set events, you know, whatever they give us. I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and predict all that. I do get the feeling though what'll probably happen is they'll probably give us a login bonus for rubies leading up to the very next week, where we'll probably end up seeing the SS banner. So in my opinion, I think Terry makes sense for kind of the face of the banner. Now, who he would be paired with, I think that the one that makes the most sense at this point is Rock Howard. There is a really good case to be made for a lot of these characters, particularly Andy Bogard, of course, and then you've got the normal version of Geese. We have a Nightmare Geese, but we don't necessarily have a really good version of just Geese. So I know that those are options in there, but I do think that Rock Howard makes the most sense. I wouldn't be necessarily upset if Rock got held out for one of those other characters, because if you guys weren't aware, just 1 second, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm a little bit of a fan of Rock Howard. So when it comes to Rock, I do think it makes sense, right? but at the same time, my rubies. So anyway, I do get the feeling that this is probably the most sensible option for Terry's partner. So in general, this is the direction I think they're probably going to go if we get an SS Terry, but there are a lot of really, really solid options that you could put alongside him. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to go ahead and go with his adopted son, basically, at that point. So I'm just going to go with that. Now, of course, we already kind of know what we can get into and what we can expect from the next BS banner. So they've kind of shown their cards recently, especially with these packages and these buffs and so on. And, you know, I definitely appreciate all of the things that they've done with the buffs with all these characters. And I do like the fact that we get some sort of hint, potentially. Now, of course, we don't have confirmation 100%. It would make sense based on what they did with Nameless and Ash. But that's the thing, guys, like, I know a lot of people are saying and getting really, really excited, right? And I'm not trying to rain on any parades. It's definitely, this is my prediction, but always bear in mind that there is that potential that this isn't the next BS banner after the next SS banner. So keep that in mind. It isn't confirmed, and you got to keep that in mind. Otherwise, you're setting yourselves up potentially for a lot of heartache. You never know. Netmarble has changed things up a lot. We know that they want to do lady fighters more this year. That's something that they had kind of talked about in a previous dev video. So in general, anything could happen going into 2022, to be honest with you guys, because again, we haven't had an official banner yet, so they could change course just and kind of swerve us. We never know. So the moral of the story there, just don't get your hopes up too much, because you don't have necessarily 100% confirmation, even though it might seem like we do. So with that being said, my prediction for the next BS banner after the SS banner that we'll see in the next couple of weeks, which I'm predicting will be Rock and Terry. I'm thinking that this is definitely a lock. So we're getting out of the Nest saga in general in the King of Fighters All-Star, or at least we should be at this point. You know, we recently got the 2002 story mode. We've gotten kind of all this different stuff with all these different banners that has kind of tied all their characters up for the most part. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry for all the people out there that are fans of Clone Zero. I hear you, and I'm sorry, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So in general, when it comes to what we're looking at here, of course, Saiki is a character that, you know, now that he's been buffed, is an absolute god in things such as OG weeks in Championship. He's going to be a PvP character in general for the most part, but he does have a better standing now in PvE for some people out there that need budget options, especially for Darkness. And then with Mukai, he actually ended up faring really, really well, especially in PvE, because they ended up fixing his cancel windows in general there. That was the biggest thing that he got, so that was really cool. But when it comes to these two characters, I know for a long time people have wanted one version of a BS Saiki in particular, and I hope you guys get what you want. You know, at the end of the day, for me, this game is all about, you know, this is kind of a dream fight game where you're going to get all of these different characters and all of these cool versions of these characters that you can play around as. You know, for me, it's one of those things, just throw everything at people, you know, let people have fun, give them the characters they want, give them the versions they want, and just let people get who they like. So, you know, I hope you guys end up with the versions of these characters that you want. I hope whatever they do with Mukai, it is cool, because I think that character right there, given the track record at Netmarble when it comes to the way that they redesign these characters, yeah, he could end up looking super, super awesome. Like, I can see them doing some really, really cool things with Mukai if they wanted to kind of think outside the box. This is already a character that's really cool, so I think that they could do a lot with him as far as his design is concerned. But yeah, I do think that that's probably the next BS banner, and I think a lot of people will probably be excited about that. You know, the past couple of banners in general have been really exciting for a lot of people, and they're doing a really good job recently of putting their finger on the pulse of the characters we actually want, as opposed to giving us characters that, while we necessarily might not dislike them, it isn't the characters that by and large everybody's requesting. They're definitely getting better at giving us the characters that we all love. So I'm really, really hoping that for all of you guys out there that are fans of any of these characters on either of these banners, if this is the direction that they go, I hope that you guys end up getting what you want, and they're competitive and they're up to snuff. So in general, that's what I'm kind of expecting for the next couple of banners. But in general, after that, you know, one thing that does need to be mentioned here real quick is we need to talk about the fact that after we get through the next couple of banners, meaning the next two banners, the ones that we just talked about, we might end up looking at kind of a window of time there where we need to start considering what we're doing for a collaboration. So in my opinion, I'm going to be very sparing depending on what I'm looking at with these characters going forward. You know, for now, my rubies are getting back up there, but at the same time, I know that there is that potential of an SS Tarian rock, so I'm kind of worried about that from that perspective. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do one way or the other, and I think that everybody should definitely start thinking about the fact that over the course of the next, you know, month and a half, that's the time at that point where we're going to start thinking, okay, when's the next collaboration coming around? Because that should be sooner rather than later at that point. So we don't have much time between now and when we're going to have to start considering that. So that is something that you guys want to keep in mind as well. But we do have time right now. It creeps up on you, especially with the way that these banners get rolled out, and everybody should kind of keep that in mind just in the back of your head. So anyway, you guys, I think that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you all found it informative and you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section down below which characters you expect to see on the next SS and BS banners respectively. Do you agree with those options, or do you have other ones that you think make more sense? Let me know in the comments section. I will talk to you guys on Monday. Like, share, and subscribe on your way out. I appreciate all of you. Enjoy your weekends. Peace.
Continue.